Do you ever walk into a room and forget why you're there, or struggle to remember the name of someone you've known for years? These moments may seem harmless, a simple lapse in focus, or a side effect of a busy life. But what if I told you that some of the most innocent habits you practice every day are quietly stealing your memory bit by bit, and you wouldn't even suspect them? Science calls them silent memory saboteurs. They don't announce their presence with pain or discomfort. Instead, they creep in slowly over months and years until one day you realize you're forgetting things that should be unforgettable. And here's the unsettling part. Many of these habits feel perfectly normal. You may even think they're healthy. But they aren't. And by the time most people find out, the damage has already begun. Today I'll walk you through 7 surprising habits that directly contribute to memory loss. Ones that most people have no idea about. And I promise by the time we reach number 4, you'll be completely shocked by how something so small could have such a massive effect on your brain. So let's begin with something so simple, yet often dangerously overlooked. Habit number 1: dehydration, the hidden brain fog creator. Water. It's the simplest remedy known to humankind. Yet did you know that over 75% of adults are chronically dehydrated, and they don't even feel thirsty? Especially as we age, our body's thirst signals become weaker. By the time you feel the urge to drink water, your brain may already be operating in a fog. The human brain is made up of about 75% water, and just a 2% drop in hydration is enough to cause noticeable problems with attention, memory, and even your mood. Imagine trying to run a high-powered machine without enough oil. Things start grinding, slowing down, and breaking apart. That's exactly what happens inside your brain when you're dehydrated. Dehydration shrinks brain tissue, reduces oxygen flow, and interrupts the balance of critical neurotransmitters responsible for memory and focus. You might call it just a bad day, but really, your brain is crying out for water. And it's not just about drinking any liquid. Coffee, tea, and sugary sodas often dehydrate the body even further. What your brain truly needs is pure, clean water. And more of it than you probably think. Try this simple fix. Start your day by drinking a full glass of water before you reach for anything else. And keep a water bottle by your side throughout the day. You're not just hydrating your body, you're nourishing your memory. But while water seems like an obvious fix, the next habit hides in plain sight. And it's probably sitting right on your dinner table almost every night. Habit number 2. Excessive processed carbohydrates, the invisible sugar trap. What's the first thing most people reach for when they're hungry and in a hurry? A slice of white bread, a bowl of pasta, or maybe a sweet pastry. These comforting foods are everywhere, easy to prepare, satisfying, and unfortunately silently harmful to your brain. Here's the science most people miss. Every time you consume these refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. And while you might know this isn't great for your waistline, few realize it's equally devastating for brain health. In fact, some scientists now refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes, a direct result of insulin resistance in the brain caused by consistently high sugar intake. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that people who regularly consume high glycemic foods, like white bread and processed snacks, have a 53% higher risk of cognitive decline. That's not a small number. That's the kind of risk that changes lives. So what's really happening inside your brain? Those sudden sugar spikes trigger a flood of insulin, but over time, your cells become resistant. This leads to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 of the most dangerous enemies of memory and mental clarity. The hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories, is particularly sensitive to these sugar-driven attacks. Over time, it weakens, and you start noticing those senior moments happening more often. Here's the good news. You don't have to give up carbohydrates altogether. The key is to switch from refined processed carbs to slow-releasing whole-grain options. Try incorporating quinoa, buckwheat, steel-cut oats, and sweet potatoes into your meals. These foods release glucose, slowly keeping your blood sugar balanced and your brain protected. But here's the habit you'd never expect. And almost everyone does it just before bed without realizing it's sabotaging their brain's overnight recovery process. Habit number 3, using digital devices before sleep, the nighttime brain disruptor. After a long day, it feels harmless, scrolling through your phone, checking emails, or watching one last episode of your favorite show. But the simple habit may be quietly stealing your brain's most valuable asset, its ability to rest, repair, and store new memories. Here's why. Your brain operates on a finely tuned internal clock known as the circadian rhythm. As the day winds down and the sun sets, your body naturally increases production of melatonin, a hormone essential for deep restorative sleep. This is the phase when your brain performs its nightly cleanup, clearing out toxic waste, repairing cells, and strengthening the neural pathways responsible for memory. But the blue light emitted from phones, tablets, and TVs sends your brain the wrong message. It mimics daylight, tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime. As a result, melatonin production plummets and you miss out on the critical deep sleep stages, especially the one called slow-wave sleep, where memory consolidation happens. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Sleep Research found that individuals exposed to blue light before bed recalled up to 40% less information the next day compared to those who avoided screens. Think about that. The difference between remembering a loved one's birthday or forgetting it entirely. And this isn't just about memory. Poor sleep also accelerates brain aging, increases stress hormones, and leaves you feeling foggy and irritable the next day. Try this simple shift. Power down all digital devices at least 1 hour before bed. Create a calming bedtime routine. Instead, read a physical book, listen to soothing music, or try a light stretching exercise. If you absolutely must use a device, enable night mode, or wear blue light blocking glasses to reduce exposure. But did you know that even how you sit during the day can quietly affect your brain's health? This next habit is one of the least discussed, yet it's physically shrinking a critical part of your brain. Habit number 4, sitting too much, the brain blood flow blocker. You might think of sitting as harmless, even restful. But what if I told you that the more time you spend sitting, the more you're starving your brain of the oxygen and nutrients it desperately needs to stay sharp? Modern life has quietly transformed many of us into chronic sitters. Whether it's hours spent at a desk in front of the TV or scrolling on the phone, the average person now sits for over 8 to 10 hours a day. And the consequences aren't limited to stiff joints or back pain. Prolonged sitting has a direct and damaging effect on the brain. A UCLA study using MRI scans revealed something startling. People who sit for long periods every day have noticeable shrinkage in the hippocampus, the very part of the brain responsible for forming and storing new memories. Think about that. The longer you sit, the more you shrink the area of your brain that helps you remember life's most precious moments. Why does this happen? When you sit for extended periods, blood flow slows down. Less blood flow means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching your brain cells. Over time, this starves your brain, reduces neuroplasticity, and leads to quicker cognitive decline. But there's a remarkably simple solution known as the 5-5 rule. For every 55 minutes you spend sitting, take just 5 minutes to stand up, stretch, or walk around. These micro movements are enough to get your blood flowing and keep your brain healthy. Even light activities like gentle stretching, walking to get a glass of water, or standing during phone calls can counteract the harmful effects of sitting. But while we often blame physical inactivity for health issues, this next habit hides behind the label of being safe or calorie-free. Yet it may be silently disrupting your brain's chemistry every single day. Habit number 5. Overusing artificial sweeteners, the hidden neurotoxin. In the pursuit of better health, many people proudly swap sugar for zero-calorie sweeteners. It feels like a smart choice, cutting down on calories while keeping the sweet taste you love. But here's the uncomfortable truth: what you save in calories you may be paying for with your memory. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin are marketed as safe, even healthy. But studies are increasingly showing that these chemicals have a dark side, especially when it comes to brain health. A 2022 study published in Nutritional Neuroscience revealed a troubling link: individuals who regularly consume high levels of artificial sweeteners have an increased risk of memory lapses, anxiety, and even depression. These substances disrupt the delicate balance of neurotransmitters in the brain, especially dopamine and serotonin, which play crucial roles in mood regulation and memory formation. Even more concerning, long-term use of aspartame has been shown to cause oxidative stress in the brain. This stress damages brain cells and contributes to inflammation, both of which accelerate cognitive decline. And the irony: these sweeteners don't actually eliminate cravings. They confuse your brain. Your taste buds detect sweetness, but no real calories follow. Over time, this disconnect leads to greater sugar cravings, unhealthy eating habits, and an increased risk of metabolic disorders, all factors that further impair brain health. Here's the healthier path forward. Choose natural alternatives like stevia, monk fruit, or small amounts of raw honey if you need a sweet touch. And try to gradually retrain your taste buds to enjoy less sweetness overall. Your brain will thank you for it. Now, this next habit might be the most quietly destructive of them all. One that doesn't involve food or drinks, but rather something the heart and mind deeply crave. Habit number 6. Social isolation, the silent killer of brain cells. We often think of memory loss as a purely biological process, something that happens because of aging or genetics. But what if I told you that one of the greatest threats to your memory isn't in your body, but in your environment? It's called social isolation, and it's more dangerous than most people realize. Research shows that loneliness is not just an emotional burden. It's a serious health risk. In fact, a long-term study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that social isolation increases the risk of dementia by up to 40%. That's nearly the same level of risk as heavy smoking or high blood pressure. But why does loneliness have such a devastating effect on the brain? The answer lies in mental stimulation. Every conversation, every shared laugh, every moment of emotional connection strengthens the neural pathways responsible for memory and cognition. When those connections are missing, the brain becomes understimulated. Over time, unused neural pathways weaken and fade, much like unused muscles shrinking from disuse. And for seniors, this danger is even more pronounced. Retirement, loss of loved ones, and reduced mobility often lead to fewer social interactions. Days become quieter. But here's the hopeful news: it doesn't take grand gestures or constant socializing to protect your brain. Simple daily habits like making a phone call to a friend, joining a local community group, attending a book club, or even participating in online social platforms can keep your brain active and connected. Remember, human connection is not just good for the heart, it's essential nourishment for the mind. And finally, perhaps the most underestimated but entirely fixable habit that's costing you your mental clarity is something missing from your plate. Habit 7. Skipping omega-3 fatty acids, the essential brain nutrient. Your brain is a masterpiece of nature, an intricate network of over 86 billion neurons working tirelessly to help you think, feel, and remember. But here's something few people realize: the very structure of those brain cells depends on a specific type of fat. And without it, your mind can slowly lose its sharpness. That critical nutrient, omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA and EPA. These aren't just ordinary fats, they're the building blocks of healthy brain cells. In fact, DHA makes up nearly 30% of the brain's gray matter, which is directly responsible for memory, decision-making, and learning. Yet despite their importance, most people, especially seniors, aren't getting nearly enough omega-3s in their diet. And when the brain lacks these healthy fats, inflammation takes hold. The protective lining around neurons weakens, communication between brain cells slows, and memory begins to falter. A major review published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that individuals with higher omega-3 intake had significantly larger brain volumes and better memory function, even as they aged. On the flip side, a deficiency in these fats was directly linked to faster cognitive decline and increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. So how can you ensure your brain is getting the nourishment it needs? Add omega-3 rich foods into your daily meals. The best sources are fatty fish, like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. But if you prefer plant-based options, reach for walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Even a small handful of walnuts each day can make a remarkable difference in long-term brain health. And if you find it challenging to meet your needs through food alone, consider a high-quality omega-3 supplement. Just be sure it's third-party tested for purity. Let's take a moment to reflect. Every day, without realizing it, we might be practicing small habits that quietly chip away at our most valuable asset, our memory. But the good news is, awareness is the first step to change. Drink more water to lift the brain fog. Replace refined carbs with nourishing, slow-digesting foods. Put down your devices before bed and give your brain the rest it deserves. Stand up, move more, and keep the blood flowing to your mind. Skip the artificial sweeteners that cloud your mental clarity. Reach out to someone because a simple conversation might just save a memory. And finally, feed your brain the healthy fats it craves to stay strong and vibrant. Your brain is a lifelong companion. Take care of it today and it will take care of you for years to come. So which of these habits surprised you the most? And more importantly, which one will you change starting today? If you found this information helpful, share it with someone you care about, because protecting our memories isn't just a personal mission. It's a gift we can offer to our families and communities.